Hey Zwifters, welcome back to No Breakaways, your source for all the Zwift racing tips and tricks. We're here to preview course number 7 of season 2 of the ZRL, the Libby Hill After Party. This is a course that really suits me personally because it's nice and flat. I can use my draft, try to keep that 3.2 watts per kilogram that my team always teases me about. But at the end, we have Libby Hill. Going to be really hard, but really fun. Let's take a look at the course and get into it. All right, here we go, the Libby Hill After Party course. We do 5 laps of the fan flats. That's up in the top right corner. So you're going to do 5 little laps around there. And then on your 5th lap, you're going to take a right. You're going to come down that hill you see in the middle of the screen and head over to Libby Hill, which is right at the bottom. It doesn't look big there. It's not going to take that long, but it's going to be very, very hard. And this should be a really fun course. This is really a sprinter and VO2 max course. So if you didn't like the climb on the Innsbruck ring, this is going to be your thing. Right, our intermediate points, the same as they have been this entire season. We have our first across the line bonuses and our fastest through segments. These will be incredibly important this week because our first across the line bonus, we have 5 times Monument Avenue and 1 up Libby Hill. And our fastest through segments are both. So what that means, because we do 5 laps of the fan flats and we have 5 of those Monument Avenue sprints, there are 5 different chances for the fastest through segment, and one person, if they were good enough, could take all 5 fastest through segments, which would just be an incredible amount of points. Arguably the Monument Avenue sprint is going to be more important than the finish points this week. So if you have a really good sprinter on your team, you're going to want to protect that person, lead them out. I mean, you could have a dedicated lead out person on your team this week just for Monument Avenue, just to lead them out, try to get as many possible points as you can. And then, of course, there's the Libby Hill KOM, which whoever wins the Libby Hill KOM is probably going to get 40 points for first. They're going to get 20 points for fastest through segment, and they're going to get 10 points for the first across the line. So most likely the winner of the race is going to get 70 points from the fastest through, the KOM, and the 40 for winning the race. So very different race this week because of these intermediate points being so important. Here are the feature distances this week. I did not include the Libby Hill KOM because, as we know, it's just the last part of the race. You don't really need a feature distance there. You're going to be coming up on it. You're going to see hardly anything left in the race. So I didn't think it was necessary to put that feature distance on here. But for the Monument Avenue sprint, I did have to look at an old race to find this. And so these feature distances should be pretty close to correct from Strava, but we're looking at 4 kilometers, 9.1, 14.3, 19.4, and 24.6. If you're wondering how long it takes to get around, if you do the kinetic ride on Friday mornings, when you're doing about 2.5 watts per kilogram, it takes about 7 minutes. So I'm going to expect the A riders to be getting around somewhere between 5:30 and 6 minutes. B riders probably around 6 minutes. C, I would guess, 6:15, 6:30, and D's are going to be right around that 7 minutes that you see on the Kinetic Cruisers ride. They also do a sprint every lap, which is interesting, and we will talk through how they do that for the fastest through time. All right, let's talk about power-ups. This week, we have the Arrow and the Draft Van. Pretty interesting one, especially with Libby Hill. We'll talk about where to use them for the sprints, and then also where to use them on Libby Hill if you want to try to maximize that finish. So the pens are over on a right. You come out of there, you take a right, you go all the way down this road and hang another right, and then you're on the fan flats loop for our 5 laps. So this right-hand turn here is where we start the fan flats loop. So it takes this slight uphill, and every lap you're going to come around in this uphill. It gets to 4% for just a second and then levels at about 2%. People always push it here, trying to make gaps and all that. I've never seen it work. I don't think it is worthwhile to do. I don't think it's possible to make a split right here if you're with a group of savvy Zwifters, which we all will be at this point. Um, so to me, this entire Fan Flats loop is just going to be drafting. I'm just going to be sitting in the draft, using as few watts as possible, getting ready for that Monument Avenue sprint. That is the important part of this. Nothing else that you do on this loop is going to drop anyone that you wouldn't be able to drop anywhere else on the course. My strong advice on this part of the course is just let other people lead, let other people burn a match so that you can beat them on the Monument Avenue sprint. And we're going to jump right there now. All right, so the Monument Avenue sprint, you have to come up and go around this hairpin. If you've ever done the Kinetic Cruisers ride or any ride that has this as their sprint, you know that right around this hairpin is when you need to start winding it up. So if you're going to go for this Monument Avenue sprint, if you're going to go through the fastest through time, you need to be pushing it as hard as you can from right here so that when you hit that marker that's coming up that we can see, that you're going 100% all out. You're at your fastest speed on that marker. It is about a 15-second sprint. The fastest people are going to get through an 11 or 12. I know in the Bs, we're going to be low 13s. Some of the best sprinters will be in the 12s. It's a super duper fast sprint, so you need to be flying by the time you get to that marker. Now, if you aren't going for this sprint and you don't want to get spit out the back, you still need to up your speed. You need to get up to about 400 watts, 300 watts if you're a B, in order to make sure that no one gets away. That would actually be a place where I could see a break happening on this sprint if somehow the sprint pack kind of started working together to keep away. It is possible to break it up there, but it's probably not likely. Um, I do think this course is just so draftable that it's not worth really trying for a break because I don't think it'll happen. So that's it. You're going to do that sprint 5 times. You're going to go around Fan Flats. Honestly, there's not too much to talk about it. You just keep going around this little loop. It's not going to take you long, 6-7 minutes, and then you'll be back. So what we're going to do, we're going to skip to the part where we turn to go to Libby Hill, and we'll break down that end of the course. So after your 5 laps, after you've done your 5 Monument Avenue sprints, you're going to come up here, and instead of taking the left that you've done, you're going to see me. I'm turning on to the main loop there. This takes you to Libby Hill. So before you get to Libby Hill, you're going to go on a downhill, which you'll be able to super tuck. It's one of those nice downhills. And then it's flat until you get to Libby Hill. So let's hop to the next, maybe semi-important part of the course. So I wanted to point out that this sprint segment does not have any points. This is Broad Street Sprint, so don't worry about it. It wouldn't surprise me if someone tries to go for it because they don't know the rules, but your job, just sit in the draft, stay in the pack, use as little energy as possible. So here we are, we just crossed an intersection and the downhill starts. Get it in the pack, get a good super tuck, save those watts because you're going to need every single one of them going up Libby Hill. So this is the only mildly tricky feature. Again, I don't think anything's going to get away here, but I have seen people, if you get caught napping on that little tiny uphill, I have seen people get spit out the back and not be able to catch up, especially at this point in the race. You're almost to Libby Hill. You're going to have to pay attention there. All right, so coming up on Libby Hill, there's the start of it. We went through that hairpin. The first part of this hill, right here, 4, 5, 6% grade, your job is to sit in the pack. Most likely no one's going to throw any big attacks in right here because it's so flat, it's somewhat draftable until you get to that right-hand turn you see up there. If you have an aero van, this may be an interesting place to use it. Because at the top of the hill, it's going to be so steep you're not going to get anything from it. So I would almost use it right before you get to the hill, kind of in that run up to it, to just save some watts. And maybe you can slingshot a little bit so you can use less watts on this part and just let the pack come back and catch you. And then you can attack again when you take this right-hander. This right-hander right up here is where the road really kicks up. That's where the attacks are going to start flying left and right. And so My strong advice is to just sit in the pack, let other people do the work here until you get to that right hander, and then it's going to be an all out, probably somewhere between 30 seconds to 60 seconds to get to the finish line banner. It's a lot further every time I race it than I think it's going to be. Um, and so once you get to the top, we'll have a little bit more discussion, but we'll go ahead and watch the rest of this. All right, here we come to the top of the climb. If you have an arrow helmet, I'm going to think about popping it right here to try to make a gap. You see it does flatten out a little bit. That's going to help your arrow. As you come around, it kicks way up, but then it kicks back down. You could even use your arrow helmet here if you think that's going to help. If you're, but there's so little time left, I don't know if you can really get a lot of speed up. So those are the places I would use an arrow helmet. Don't use a draft fan at the top. I would use it at the bottom. All right, here's a look at the Libby Hill KOM. We have covered this in a previous episode, but and we're also going to cover it on Outside the Draft. I'm going to talk to Jordan and Jackie about it this week and how to approach this hill. The very start of this hill is draftable, but it gets really steep as you make that turn. It's going to be a super interesting hill, a super interesting finish. This is going to be an absolute all out 1 to 2.5 minute effort, depending on your category. And so, with that in mind, I took a little bit different tack this week with these expected times. What I did is I put how long it would take you to get up the hill based on your watts per kilo. And I did this because I wanted to give you an idea of about how long each group would take. So obviously, red corresponds to what I think the winning time in A would be for men. Uh, for men B, probably 115, 130, 215. But I also wanted, I wasn't sure on the women's time, but I wanted to give you an idea on about how long this climb is going to take for everyone. So you figure if you're going about 5.5 watts per kilogram, it's going to take you around 125. If you can do 7 watts per kilogram, it's going to be around, say, 112, 110, so that you would know about how long you're going to have to do this all out effort for so you can prepare in advance. This is how I kind of think of the hill. I know that to win my division, I'm going to probably have to go up in 6.5 watts per kilo for a minute 15. And you can kind of decide, can I do that or not? And if I can't, what is my target and what would my time be? So a little bit different way to look at it this week. Hopefully it's helpful. Um, you can also look at other races if you want to check out kind of those times, but they're going to see right around here. All right, for our expected total times this week, we're going to start off with the women. Uh, I had to take complete guesses here. There was some weird data in Zwift Power. These these are complete guesses for the women for sure. I'm thinking Cat A, 44 to 47 minutes. We talked about how this is going to be just an incredibly draftable race, which means that raw watts are going to be what determines your time. So you're going to see the women have slower times, but similar watts per kilo to the men. So not reflective of skill or anything like that. Just the bigger raw watts that the men's put out makes us go faster. Cat B, probably 46 to 49. You do see that the times overlap. I did that because, I really was having to guess. I'm also going to say that on this course for men and women, your watts per kilo should be way down compared to a normal course. I'm expecting some of us Cat Bs, hopefully me, are going to be able to actually ride below Cat B, be able to hit 3.0, 3.1 on this course because it's so flat. We should be able to get a really, really good draft. Cat C 48 to 53, Cat D 53 to 58. For the men, same thing. I did look at some races, so these are a little bit tighter tolerances for the times. Probably 41 to 42 minutes. Cat B 43 44, Cat C 45 to 46, and Cat D 47 to 50. So it is a very quick race this week. It is very flat. So it's going to play to the sprinters and the people with huge VO2 power there at the end. Last thing to talk about, bike selection. Aero's really going to rule the day here. So if you can do the Venge with disc wheels, I would do that. If you can do the Tron, that's also a really nice option, especially with Libby Hill at the end. If you're just doing those sprint points, you want the most aero thing. For some of the lower level Zwifters, the Canyon Aero, the DT Swiss, just pretty normal stuff that you would expect. Head on over to Zwift Insider. Eric has some amazing information over there on bike choice, and you can go through any possible selection you want. All right, Zwifters, that's it for week number 7, the Libby Hill After Party. Good luck to everyone this week. Have fun. If you like the show, please click like and subscribe below. We'll see you next time.